Good morning and welcome to my channel. This is going to be HUD News at 9. Today's date is July 7th, 2020. Okay, if you're new to the channel, let me tell you this. You can find my website in the comment section or the description. When you arrive on the website, this is what you're going to see. It's plain white. There are no advertisement. All links are going to be to .gov, .hud, .city, .county, stuff like that. Okay, no outside website, no spam, nothing like that. If you look on the page, you'll see all the actual HUD manuals, okay? You sit down with an employee. If you ever wondered what they're using to rank you, the point systems and all that, you'll find that directly on the website. Simple as that. Your other alternative is to watch 100 videos that are made 2 minutes long from people that have no idea about what they're talking about on YouTube, okay? So with that being said, let's move on to today's topics, okay? So waiting lists, we're gonna talk about this for a second, okay? There are 2 or 3 different types of waiting lists, and you need to be aware of that because once you get past one, then you're going to deal with another one, okay? The second thing I'm going to talk about is there was a big incident in Atlanta, Georgia, where a lot of black people that were seniors or elderly were being discriminated against, and people went out there and reported what was going on, and they got caught. They got caught, and now HUD has to pony up $40 million to start re-educating people, okay? So I want to read you a little bit about what happened there and how that situation has unfolded, okay? And the last thing I want to tell you about is there's been some policy changes at HUD for people that are going to be seeking shelter. Look, people, with 13 to 20% of people unemployed, losing their jobs, we're going to see the biggest migration of homeless people and people without a home, looking for a home here shortly. You know, the shit's really going to hit the fan later in the year when we get to October, November, you know, because these evictions are already starting to roll out. So it's important that you understand what's happening. The major changes for the channel real quick. Look, normally I post up to 20 videos a week, okay? A normal YouTuber posts maybe 1 or 2 videos a week. I post up to 20. I'm going to be narrowing that down to 5 videos, okay? One video Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Be merging a lot of these videos into one. And that's just going to be the HUD News at 9 because it's so popular, okay? During pandemic time, during summertime, viewership is very flaky and it doesn't make any sense to post a bunch of videos that will never be seen, all right? Moving on. So let's actually talk about this housing lottery. So I'm going to use this article from the city, which is actually New York City, and then we're going to look at some demographics. Okay, the first thing I want to tell you is, look, once you read all these manuals, say you figured it out, okay? You've got the golden egg and you figured it out. Now you're at the very top of that list and you're about to receive a voucher in your hand and you get to go out there and get your housing, okay? You get all excited. So once you get that, what most of you are going to discover is then there's another waiting list, okay? When you go to these big apartment complexes, they have a limited number of units, okay? And those units are designed for the HUD programs, all right? And depending on your income level, depend on how long you're going to wait on their list, okay? So let me be very specific about this. Let's say they have 100 units reserved for HUD people in their vouchers, okay? The people, and so there's basically 3 income criteria that I see used most often, and that's people that spend 80% of their income on rent, people that spend 50%, and those that spend 30%. Look, guys, those of you that spend the vast majority of your income on rent, the 80% people, when you go out there, most of the people that apply are just like you, okay? And so what happens is you end up waiting quite a while in order to get a call from the apartment complex saying we have an available unit. Those of you that are at the 50% income levels tend to spend about half as much time waiting, okay? So you go up the list much quicker. And those of you that are only spending 30% of your income, which means your income's a little bit higher, and you're spending less of your income to get rent, you actually spend half as much time as the people spending 50% of their income. In other words, a person that is only spending about 30% of their income on rent, they're likely to be the ones that are going to shoot to the top of the list over there. So it works in reverse. Once for a voucher, the lower your income, the higher you get on that list. But when you leave there and you apply an apartment complex, the more you make puts you higher on the list because there's less people applying for it, okay? So it's I've got to tell you, man, the system is sometimes just rigged. So you might want to increase your income if you want to increase your ability to get higher up on those waiting lists, okay? Let's look at the demographic here, or just a little chart. So this is an example, extremely low income. So you have 650 applicants. The people that are middle income, let's say the 30% people, there's only 123 people on that waiting list. Who do you think is getting in their units quicker? The people that make more money, okay? So you've got to realize, and so waiting list number one is Housing Choice Voucher, Section 8. So you're getting your voucher, and then you go out there and then you apply at these complexes. You're on a second waiting list. And then, of course, it's going to be based on income there as well. And the more you make, the quicker you get in, okay? And it's not because you're making more money. It just simply means they have less people applying that make more money, okay? And then the more places you apply at is really the third level of waiting list, because then you're on a bunch. So let me give you some advice, folks. No matter what your income is going to be, you need to apply at every single place available, okay? You're going to hit one of them, okay? One of them is going to be, one person is going to yell bingo, okay? And then you get in, all right? But for those of you that are super low income, be prepared to be on a long list, okay? So now you understand and see the reality of that situation. Next thing I want to tell you about over here, so HUD has released $40 million to fight housing discrimination. This rolls back to an incident it was an incident in Atlanta, Georgia, okay? So the housing authority there. Now, for those of you that don't understand the difference between HUD and the housing authority, is not every housing authority is run directly by HUD. A housing authority could be an independent organization. It could be something that's sanctioned by HUD. So it's a group of people running it, and they have to follow HUD rules, okay? So apparently in this place, they didn't want to allow senior citizens that were black into their nicer properties, is what was going on. Well, enough people reported it, and so they got caught red-handed, and now HUD is awarding $40 million across the country. But here's the deal. Let's break down those numbers. There's 25,000 cities and towns across America. That means everybody gets a little paycheck for $1,600, okay? Now, once they get that $1,600 check at the housing authority, you can take the check and then chop that in half, because they're going to need party favors and champagne to pop in their office. And then what's left, what they'll do is probably likely bill $100 for every half hour of training they do. You see how that works? So all the money will just simply evaporate, and then nothing really will be done. To me, this is the most bullshit thing I've ever seen. I don't agree with this. It is an absolute joke, okay? Let me tell you something. This country struggled with racism and bigotry for over 200 years. Do you think some little shitty $40 million deal is going to fix anything? If you want to fix the problem, quit hiring evil people in there, okay? You need to screen their social accounts and make sure these people are not racist. That's what it comes down to. Quit hiring people that are unethical. I don't know why evil people are always like a magnet. They gravitate to jobs where they end up having to help people, when their true intent is just to be evil, okay? So let's move on from that, and I want to show you how to deal with these bad actors. On the website, report housing discrimination link. Look, guys, we talked about this yesterday. I'm going to go over it again for you new watchers. First, you need to file by phone and also email with HUD. Then you want to take them and go to U.S. Inspector General, report them phone and email. And then you want to do your subcategories. ACLU, if you're African American, NAACP, if you're gay, lesbian, transgender, GLBT, okay? So these can be worked in combination with HUD and the U.S. General Inspector. Then, after you've built out a nice, good email, you don't need to pull out any stamps or an envelope. Forget the old ways. Email, baby. So, you want to fire these off to the state, the city, your congressman, your senators, the governor's office, and the mayor's office. Once you do all of that, heads will start to roll. The shit will hit the fan at these housing authorities, and somebody's going to be terminated. Okay, or the whole place will be investigated, okay? And if you're really super pissed off about everything, why not go ahead and fire off your email to every news station in your city, okay? That way, when people actively want to engage in prejudice and discrimination and bigotry and other discriminatory factors, what you can do is ruin their life like they're trying to ruin you, okay? So, anytime that you have a problem with these people, report them. I mean, report them until they're on. So that way they can benefit from the sidewalk. What you want to see, what you do with these evil people is you put them on the sidewalk with no shoes, no hope, no home, no way to pay their bills, and then guess what? They learn the most powerful lesson in life. They learn how to be human again, and maybe they'll gain a little bit of empathy after you've destroyed their life, okay? Do not allow these people to ever railroad you and do things they're not supposed to do. These people are supposed to be acting under your constitutional rights. You know, you have protections in place. Report these people. I'm serious about this stuff. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so HUD and Mr. Ben Carson. Mr. Carson decided to reverse some Obama-era stuff, okay? Look, my channel is not about religion and politics. I don't give a damn if you're Republican, Democrat, if you're Catholic or a Satanist. It does not matter to me. What matters to me is when you take the most vulnerable people out there, the homeless, the low income, and then you start dividing and ranking people. Let me tell you something. When you are born, you take your first breath. There's no manual that's handed to you that says to you, here are all the rules that you need to play by if you're going to exist on Earth. But what we do as humans is we like to categorize people. Okay, so we have the high class, the middle class, the low class, and then from the low class, then the low class people will sit there and they'll discriminate amongst each other. And so we have the low class with the low income, the very low income, and then the low income are going to discriminate and start ranking people whether or not they're homeless or they're drug addicts. So everybody thinks they're better than the next person, okay? And this is just it's just the nastiness of being a human. People like to feel like they're in control, in charge, and want to rank and file everybody on this planet. You know, to be frank with you, I'll be glad when I'm gone. That way, there's no more of these rules and having to be dealing with all the discrimination that goes on amongst us all, you know? So anyways, here's the deal. So what they've decided to do is they're going to take the most vulnerable people, including transgender people. Look, okay, a transgender person, doesn't matter what they are or what they do. What matters is when they go there, they're only looking for a place to rest their head and go to sleep. So for a religious organization that is going to reject them simply on the premise that they're simply not the gender they're saying they were in their birth certificate is the most ridiculous thing. Let me ask you a question. When a homeless man walks in there, okay, he's filled with diseases, maybe he's a drug addict, whatever, right? He could potentially attack you. It could be a serious deal. You weren't worried about all that shit, but now you're worried about how people dress, okay? You've got homeless people walk in that don't even barely have clothes on, but we're only worried about specific people wearing specific things and who they're having sex with. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. So what they're going to do is refer these people, let's take from the very bottom of the barrel, and let's refer them to some bullshit that there's no other place to refer to. So this is the most absurd thing I've ever seen. And what stops them? So now I want to make it very clear. This is not every religious organization, okay? So before y'all go batshit crazy, I'm not talking about every religion. I'm talking about specific shelters that want to discriminate in this way and say, well, it's against my beliefs. Well, wasn't it against your beliefs when you got in there and decided to accept everybody, no matter what the condition may be? So, this in my opinion is just a poor decision. If you're going to be in the business of helping homeless people, you should not be pulling out an application. Excuse me, what color are you? How much money do you make? And by the way, do you wear panties or do you wear underwear? What the hell? These people are just there for housing. That's it. So, it really does anger me that we're going to allow this to go on. And not all religious shelters do this. Just the ones that are just extremists, that they can only have, it's like a competition to only take, the ones that they want. And you have to look at this. If they're willing to do that to transgender, what makes you think they're not going to do it? Reject everybody that's black or Mexican or an immigrant. What stops them? So, their religious beliefs say that they can do this, but what stops their religious beliefs from there?